Yeah, nope, I totally agree with that. And you kind of have played into something that I was hoping we could dig into more because you mentioned the word, engagement, right? You mentioned that could be an engagement tactic or strategy. So I'd love to sort of, drill into a little bit about like how should Web3 products, NFT projects, and communities, what are the engagement tactics that work now that you've seen successful? And Cecile, I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, when it comes to engagement, what I noticed from projects from long ago was that they would have these free stuff like airdrop, whatever, or raffle, but this is a very short-lived kind of engagement. And what tends to happen is you get people who are really just there for the freebies. So I think really when you want to think when you think about engagement, you have to think about the long-term evolution of that community, like what is the goal of this community, because if there's really no defined vision for this community, the problem is you're always going to be gasping for air. So you're always just talking for the sake of talking. So you're finding random things to throw out there to get some engagement. So yeah, I think that this is the problem with a lot of startups. Like they're having a hard time envisioning what the community would look like long term, and I think that's very important if you want to have engagement that just flows naturally, if they have a specific mission or objective that they're working towards together.
Yeah, and so speaking of that, I'm curious what folks think um, about, are there projects out there that you're seeing or experiencing or know of that you think are using successful engagement tactics or engagement strategies? Richard, I don't know if you can want to speak to that aspect of the conversation.
Well, yeah. So I think there are several projects right now that are going more niche, and they're having, again, like I into the future, right? Extreme utility is going to be where it's at, and it's going to be those that are offering so much utility that you just can't handle it, right? It's like it's going to be more than like one choice, like which party do I go to tonight, or but there'll be more niche collections, like say for instance, like we have a collection right now out there. I don't want to give a name, but it's more the utility is outdoors and events and different things like that. And there's actually several of them, but there's one that just popped up in the past 2 weeks that's doing pretty well. And again, it's more for like outdoors people. And you'll see like other ones for fishing or people that like fashion, and they'll go really 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 deep with utility. And then the engagement, all the conversation and all that, when you get more like-minded individuals, as long as you have the right direction and also the right reward mechanisms. And again, this utility is going to cause like amazing appreciation, right? I mean, that's the biggest thing, is when people see that there's such an experience that's behind these NFTs, something that it really fills their life and full of happiness, friendships. They're not going to let go of these, right? So you're going to start seeing, we predict NFTs in the near future that are going to be going for amazing amounts of money, because again, nobody's going to want to let go, because it's such an experience, it's such a club, it's such a group of people that it's just it's second to none. So and that again will be an answer to a lot of the engagement. And then just circling back to community generated engagement, like we don't have to think outside the box, we don't have to do a lot of the work. The communities would love to have influence and the ability to share some of the utility that they may be able to provide themselves on top of what the collection has, to further amp the offering, right? So there's a lot of cool stuff if we just tap into our communities and let them, drive, right? So
Yeah, no, I can appreciate that. And I think I know the project to which you're referring because it may be a project that I'm seeing appear promoted quite a bit, but it looks very interesting. Mark, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I've been researching a few. This is more so on the DeFi side, but I have been researching a few DeFi protocols that I have seen large engagements with, at least in their Telegram communities. And so I was kind of digging deep into really why that was, because I saw myself engaging consistently with these communities too and building friendships And Telegram is obviously not the easiest place to communicate, right? Because it's just one channel to communicate compared to like Discord, for example, or other mediums. But um, what I found was, what really started it all for the community engagement side was the team and the project itself. The team of the project I was researching was a very credible team, and on top of it, they were consistently engaging with their community, kind of in a sense being that middleman between, or even having a community manager in that sense, be the middleman between the community and the team, and relaying all of the problems and all the great stuff to the team so that they can communicate properly and get that going. And then on top of it, they have a really good product that is solving a real problem in this space. And so that gets people excited because, especially if you're kind of in that quote early, right, to it, wanting to engage more, and people who have the similar interests, it's basically that belonging factor, right? Does everyone has a sense of belonging and wants to really be there to ride the wave together in that sense. And so, I've noticed that with a lot of projects. The projects that do really well with the engagement side of things, especially in Discord, are the ones where the team themselves are actively talking, or at least they have admins and mods actively educating and engaging with the community itself, and then also empowering the community to take lead and even offer help when needed and ideas. And I know Stephen can speak on that because we had our last Squarespace kind of basically reflected that too. So I'll let Stephen take that over.
Yeah, sure. So, real quick, I just wanted to throw in, like Mark was saying, lead by example. That's, one of my favorite things to say is, when it comes to being a project owner, let's say, in this case, you want, more community Twitter spaces. The best way to really get that going is to have someone who's leading people, to have a leader who's truly making people like excited to do something, who makes people, you know, it's the like Mark said, the relay of information between the community and the team, whether it's positive or negative. That stuff is really important. And building engagement, it's when it comes from the community, you can really provide them what I like to call a marketing vault too, where you provide them content, you provide them graphics, even hashtags if you have them. And you can literally just say, hey guys, we're gonna have an update at this time, and when we do, we're gonna share content, and we'd love you all to share it out, and we'll do. And you can even, if you have to, do an incentivization by being like, hey, here's a giveaway. We'll give away one of our NFTs, one of X, Y, and Z. If you're a DeFi project, you give away X, Y, and Z. Nothing huge, but it makes people get active and engaged, and that's what I think is the most important thing. Is if you have a leader who's consistently putting in the work and making sure that their community feels the sense of belonging and that they feel heard, you're really going to see a huge shift in the engagement side of things.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, there's really, I mean, I'm in NFT communities as well, and I think there's really the sense of I'm engaged when I'm feeling like I'm having a good experience, right? Being in that community, and feeling valued and appreciated. And I feel like you teed up this question really well because, Zach, based on our conversation, I feel like you have a lot to add to this. There are some things that you had shared with me about how you're approaching this with Metropolis World, and I'd love to hear your more of your take on that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess when I was first brought on, our Discord hadn't even been opened, and I had to go in here and tweak a few things. But I think right now, especially in these communities, Discord is king. At least that's what I'm seeing. But having your Discord look professional these days is kind of a must. Really like clean for the community that you're bringing in. I find that if you keep things clean, you start getting these like positive community members that you want in the space. So if it's kind of all just thrown together and it looks bad, you're going to foster, I guess, that like the community you necessarily don't want, that will kind of can ruin a project and stuff like that. And as you guys were saying earlier, community, these people want to be somewhere. They want to belong somewhere. Most of them are at home at nighttime watching TV, and they don't really have anything to do. So they come in here and they want to chat with people, and they're making friendships. I know that we're building, our focus is core community. So we haven't done anything to blast the Discord. We haven't tried to make our Discord 10,000, 20,000 members yet. We've been slowly working in and sending messages to people that we've noticed on Twitter that are engaged constantly. So we'll send them a message with a private link to the Discord, let them in and really get them engaged. And then also events. We have events like daily events. We have weekly events. And as you're talking about engagement and stuff like that on Twitter, we do Twitter raids. We call them the Metro Mafia. It's actually a pretty funny name. And we have a little channel that we tag everybody in, and they all go and attack the Twitter tweets we put out. So retweeting it, commenting on it, liking it, just getting it out there and helping it trend. So, I mean, yeah.
Yep. No, and I'm in your Discord. So, you know, I think it's been a really great experience to like see how you're approaching that. And I totally agree. You said something. I mean, Discord needs to be keep things clean, but many of us, I think, if you go into a Discord community and you can look at the way it's structured, it does give you a feel for, you know, sort of the level of professionalism and expertise of that particular community. It definitely, the way it's laid out, how you're verified, it just makes a huge difference. I wanted to call on Mike, see if you have any, like what your experience has been, or sort of what you've been hearing in conversations with you know, brands and with projects.
Yeah, I think, you know, community being a mix of many factors, but at its core, it revolves around decentralized ownership, governance incentives, and particularly sort of made possible by new technologies, modes of participation. I think one important consideration for brands now more than ever is genuine community building, both internally and externally. And I think the bear market allows brands to focus on the community rather than price. And you'll probably see more people rally around the brand because they like it rather than flip something for a quick buck. So I think, those looking to get rich have largely left, and those who remain are the ones who generally care about the brands they're building and have much more positive and uplifting impact on the community. I think Web3 presents an opportunity to take things to the next level with new technologies, new modes of participation. We can involve people in new ways that were not previously possible. So community building will continue to innovate.